What's going on, guys? Happy Taco Tuesday. Welcome back to Let's Chat with Wendell and Trinity Black. It's been a long weekend. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me bring on my host because he is here. I'm Wow.
Hi.
You're on time tonight. You must really want to talk to Rasean because you're on time tonight. What's
What's
wrong?
been going on?
Listen, I feel like I've been running nonstop since Thursday. So I got off work. I have been in Tallahassee this Friday for the Big and Beautiful Gala. And then it was Mr. and Miss Tallahassee Pride. And I thought I was just coming to support my sister that is and stuff in the pageant. And she ended up giving me this award. It was just so nice, so
I saw
beautiful.
that. Congratulations.
Yes. And then of course, I had to tiptoe over there to FAMU and see what they got going on. To do my video and stuff and tour that. I did end up getting to tour the school, even though we know school is out. I think they're about to
Yeah.
graduate. So I was able to do that. It was raining, but I was able to well, I don't know if did you ever tour FAMU?
I've been to
You,
FAMU.
yeah. So it has grown so much, and it is such a nice school. And then I kind of just hung out, and then Sunday I went to Jacksonville to judge and perform at Mr. Duval Newcomer. And so that was when, of course, I went to the HBCU there, Edward Waters. And
Oh, that's where Edward Waters is. Okay, I never knew
Yeah,
that.
it's in Jacksonville, yes. And so I went over there, and then Monday I traveled to Atlanta for Stasha's charity show. So it's like, what is going on? Where's this drag queen immersed from?
Because you've been dragging, okay?
I have been dragging heavily. I've been dragging more these last 3 years than the full 18 years I've been doing this. This is crazy. So, but I'm grateful. It is what I asked for when I decided to come back. I gave myself 5 years, so we doing what we have to do. But congratulations to Asheria Price and Royalty Dickerson, excuse me, Diamond Dickerson, for capturing Mr. and Miss Tallahassee Pride. And then congratulations to Marcel Onyx Braxton for capturing Mr. Duval Newcomer.
Congratulations
And
to all three.
yeah, and then of course congratulations to Stasha on a great show. That
And
lineup
didn't
was,
Aja win a pageant?
oh Lord, yes. I can't forget my sister niece. Aja won Miss Sawmill Saturday night. It's like a nudist colony. And so the people are at the pageant. You could come to the pageant and you could be naked sitting in the audience.
What?
Yes, isn't that? I would be freaked out, but that's what it's like a nudist thingy down there.
Word.
And so, yeah, but it's great, great, great. From my understanding, it's great. Like the year that you're the
I
king.
heard they like really worked them.
Yeah, and so that's good. And then, yeah, so that was a long. So I got home. I went in for a little bit. I came back. I probably go in for tonight because it's a lot going on. But on other news, we have coming up this weekend is Dots, and somebody on the line is competing. How is everything going?
I don't like talking about it, but I mean, it's here. The passion is here. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm
You're
just really
excited.
excited.
Well, as long as you're excited about that. So shouts out to Diamond of the South, Mr. Miss Diamond of the South. What's up, Crystal? So if you are in New Orleans on Friday, so typically this is the thing, we go to New Orleans Friday and we go to Diamond of the South. So
And
we'll
then
be there to
Saturday,
support Faith. What is his stage name? Face Dupree Lord.
Face Dupree Lord. Face
Okay.
Dupree Lord.
So Face Dupree Lord and Riri Belair,
Riri.
Rosiah Riri Belair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard it's supposed to be a good little competition Saturday. Not little. I hate when people say little, but it's supposed to be a great competition on Saturday on Friday night. So you get your first hit of drag, and then Saturday, wake up, go get you some beignets, and
Go to Up and Adams
definitely go to Up and Adam and have a good time, and then come on over to Queen and King
at
honoring
the
Queen
Civic.
Fantasia
Yeah.
and King Angel. So I have not missed King and Queen since we went the first time as Renaissance.
Yeah. It's a
Such
good
a
time.
fun pageant. Like the vibe is the tea at King and Queen, right?
Yeah.
Ironically, we have the CEO and owner on tonight. We're so calculated over here. But so yeah, go and support Savannah Santiago, Nicole Love Dupree, Raja, I think is it Davenport?
Raj
O'Hara.
O'Hara.
Raj O'Hara, and of course, Aja Dupree. And then you have Antonio Edwards. We have Darion Davenport, Makai Dickerson,
Vaughn.
Brazil Westbrook, and Sean Von Carter. So it should be
Hmm.
a great, great It should be a great, great competition.
And
And
then Sunday.
tell us what's Sunday.
Sunday is the gospel brunch, right? The gospel sing off.
Well, I thought that was during the pageant
Oh, is
on
it during
Saturday.
the pageant?
I think
I don't
that's
know.
during the contest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that will be, if I'm not mistaken, that is during the contest. So it's Saria, Amaya, and Taji. But the
Yeah.
next day, I think, is the trans man battle.
Oh, okay.
But we
Okay.
have Rasean on, so he'll be able to
So
tell us
we'll know.
exactly.
Well, no, but if you are in the DC area this weekend, Impulse DC will be celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and I will be there on Sunday. So I will be hitting it out of New Orleans and flying straight to DC on Sunday. In
Listen,
the last 6 days, I've been to Seattle, Oklahoma, Dallas, Baton Rouge, Baltimore, Virginia, and then I still have to go to DC and New Orleans again. I'm wild, but
but we are here to do it for the
it's
people.
the work. It's the work.
So Diamante Miss Punt News Network, shout out to her. She said it's Saturday after talent.
Saturday
Will
after
be the
talent. And
gospel
she's one of the
battle.
sponsors.
Yes, she is one of the sponsors, her and Flame. Shouts out to Flame. Shouts out to Diamante Miss Punt News Network. And so we will definitely, I can't wait to see that. Shouts out to Maya. I know she's going to air it out, my queen. But anything else going on in your world?
No, I mean, just, it's the holiday season. So we're just doing our thing. And I really hope that if you're in the New Orleans area, please try and come out on Friday if you can. It's going to be a good contest. I've been hearing a lot of names that are allegedly doing it, but it's not like King and Queen where you have to pre-register, so you don't really know who's doing it until you get to registration. But I'm doing it. And so I know I'm doing it. But, and anybody else, it's going to be a great contest. I'm certain it will be a great contest.
Listen, don't come back on here next Tuesday without the crown.
I mean, I'm not even trying to get into that, but I mean, I'm gonna produce what I need to produce. But
We've been doing this 2 years, and I have came back with 2 crowns. You better
well, I
come
mean,
back
but
with.
you've also done a lot of. I don't do, I don't do
I've
pageants
only
like
did
that.
3.
Well, I've done one.
And I've came back with 2. But so
I've
yeah, you
done one
better
that
come
was
back.
traumatized.
We're not gonna do that. Don't do that. Don't do
You
that.
brought it up. You brought it up.
Listen. Well, yeah, listen. And so make sure you're there. Supporting. I can't wait to see Flame. I know she's gonna be funny. I hate I gotta work Friday, so but I will be there Saturday morning.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good. You'll be there Saturday, so hopefully we'll be. I'll get you to do a victory shot of Sprite with me.
Yes, a victory shot of Sprite when you after you win, and I'm sure lunch will be on you. You know how you do. But you tell that new queen, mother is always mother, whoever she may be. Don't disrespect me. But anyway, so guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring our guest on. He's been waiting. I know he has a busy schedule. You all know him as the owner and CEO.
Did you get my message? You did get my message, right?
What did it say?
Look at your phone.
Okay, my text.
Mm-hmm. She'll be right back, y'all. It'll take less than 30 seconds.
No window. No. No.
Okay, well.
So you all know him as, the owner of this weekend's pageant, but I know him as the GOAT, the EGOT, right? Undisputed. We were having a conversation about him last night in the dressing room, and people were just giving him his flowers and was saying they can't wait to hear from him in certain situations. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him on because he's ready. We love a prompt person. So give it up for our guest this evening, Mr. Rasean Montrese. Hi. Wait, did I hit the button? No, hold on. There he is.
I'm up
Hey
here
there.
cheering. Rayshawn.
How y'all doing, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey,
Thank you
hey,
for joining
hey.
us tonight with your yellow. You look so bright and ready to talk.
A little festive. Oh yeah, I got my snacks and my water. I'm ready to chat.
Oh, he came prepared. Okay, we got you. Well, before Wendell gets started, I want to say thank you for giving us this hour or so of your time. We know that you are a busy man. You got so much going on, especially coming up this weekend.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
we definitely want to say thank you for giving us this quality time for you. People have been wanting to hear from you for a while. We've gotten so many inboxes. Y'all haven't got the GOAT on. Y'all haven't got the EGOT on. Of course, we'll get into that throughout the conversation. So are you ready for this weekend? How is your head? What's going on with you?
So as much as we prepare, I mean, we start getting ready right after the contest, And as much as we prepare, there's always things to do at the last minute. Just things you didn't think of, things we want to change and make it better. Because for us, it's all about having a good time. And we want everybody to have a good time. The contestants, the people doing the national walk, the patrons, even the people that working at the venue, they have a good time. So we were just always constantly improving. And so making changes and tweaks and trying to do little things here and there. But yeah, I'm running this week for sure.
One thing about you mentioned the people at the venue, the people outside either collecting tickets or scanning us, they are so pleasant. They're not like some venues where they're just rude. They are so, y'all look so good, y'all have a good time. So we appreciate those. But you said you're preparing, so you have the names spelled correctly on everything.
Oh my God. If you only knew.
That's the inside joke, y'all. That's the inside.
Listen, we held that flyer up for several hours waiting to try to make sure we had one person's name spelled right. And then we pushed it out and spelled everybody else's name wrong. So, it just things happen.
After we had spelled yours wrong. So
that's all right.
Why can't I find it? It was R.A., so like Liza with the S, not Lisa with the S.
Okay. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I used to have the whole song memorized because it was bad.
Okay.
It was bad.
Well, the first question I want to ask you for Wendell goes into his line is GOAT. When you hear you being called the GOAT of male lead, the first to be the EGOT, what does that do to and for you?
It's surreal, actually, because I don't think that I'm there yet. It was a goal of mine, if I'm being perfectly honest. When I started, it's introduced to drag and to pageantry with Rasean Montrese and really started to get around. I said, I want to be the male Tommy Ross. After a while, right? After I decided that, everybody decided for me I wasn't going to do drag. I decided I was going to be the male Tommy Ross. And that was my goal. And I really never thought that I would get to that point. Not that I'm a Tommy Ross by any shape or stretch of the imagination, but I never thought that I would be this successful in the industry from a competition standpoint. And it's surreal. I take it lightly, but one of my friends, Sage Summer, said to me, legends require maintenance. So you can't just sit down. You can't just stay stagnant. You have to always improve. You have to strive for better things and change and evolve. And that's what I try to do with Clean Pageantry System, is to get on the other side.
Okay, gotcha. All right, go ahead, Wendell. Let's go.
Well, when I get to that part, I'll shift the question because that was one of my questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, sis. So Rachel, first off, Trinity has already said it, but I want to echo it. We are definitely delighted that you accept it because I know that this is not something you normally do.
No.
So, and for those of us out in the world that have had to communicate with you, we know that you are not the most quick to respond. So I was very, very excited that you were excited about this. So I knew that you were really excited because you're responding.
Yeah.
But I do want to know, how's your day? How's your day going? Because you have a lot going on. So how are you emotionally and mentally?
Right now, it's just really excited and overwhelmed with everybody, talking about coming, the excitement of the contestants, that I think that's it's my dream, right? But I'm sure it's any promoter's dream to see people posting on Facebook that they're coming in and everybody making plans and asking questions. It's just, it warms your heart. And to be able to do that in my new home of New Orleans and to create a whole weekend with Diamond of the South, and then we have our pageant, and then we have the celebration show on Sunday. I mean, it just makes it a complete drag weekend. And I've never felt dragged out. Sometimes you can go to stuff and at the end of it, you be like, oh, I don't want to see no more drag. I never felt that way on these weekends. And so I'm just really excited and overjoyed that everybody's looking forward to coming down.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of King and Queen, though, is you always look like you're having so much fun every time you touch the microphone.
Oh,
and so I love that.
Oh, because I am. Now I call it I'm with my family. So they start coming in on Thursday. And so it's just such I'm sad that it's such a short time frame, right? Because I get everybody there at one time. People that have been in my circle for a very long time, my royals who some have been in the circle for a while, some are new, but everybody has a special place with me, and I just enjoy the weekend. So I am having fun.
So let's start at the beginning. So I met you a long time ago. Long time ago.
Long time ago.
Long time. Neither one of us was on the stage doing anything other than being somebody's talent.
Blue lights in the basement.
Okay. So, what made you finally decide that you were ready to step in the forefront on the stage? What was the thing that sparked?
So I started back up dancing, not by choice, honestly. Long story, we may get into that, but I was with Mocha and we were friends, right? We just became friends. And so she just told me, oh, you, Caress needs a dancer. You're going to dance for her.
Miss Caress.
Okay. Oh, yes, Caress out of Indianapolis. And so I said, okay, didn't know where I was going, didn't even know to ask where I was going. I just assumed it was at the club. And it was in Little Rock at Miss Gay America. And we went all the way to Little. I was excited, John. I think I was maybe, I might have been, ooh, I'm getting in trouble. I might have been 20. I maybe I was 21 at that point. No, I was 20. I know. And so, got to go to Little Rock and just saw all this drag, all these talents, and just putting it on stage and just the beauty of it, but the creativity. And I said, that's what I want to do. And that's what I talked about all the way home. And then when I got home, everybody said, well, you're not going to do drag. They got boy pageants. You can do that, but you're not going to do drag. And so that was that was the direction I went. And so my first pageant was Mr. Gay Indiana. And so I got first runner up there. I was excited. Everybody's like, oh, usually how people do at the pageant. Oh, child, you should have won the pageant. Doing all that. I was excited to get first runner up. I got my $200. I was happy. Um, and then, from there, I just went on and I just got, I won't say addicted to it, but it became a love and a passion from there. But towards the end, I kind of lost that. So that's why I stopped.
Okay, so you said that was your first pageant. Did you do shows before that, or did you just jump straight into pageants?
I really wouldn't say it was shows. It was more like, Mocha would call and say, oh, come and do a number or, that kind of thing, kind of open it up for me. I grew up with going in high school. I was in marching band, musical theater, so I was used to being on stage
Mhm.
and performing, but not in that way. And I actually, when I was really young, I lived in California. And so I used to do Michael Jackson around the house all the time. And my godmother had her own fashion line. And so I was getting on her nerves. And so she said, well, you can do the entertainment while the models is changing. So I did Michael Jackson. I got it on tape right somewhere. And from then on, I started getting booked in California doing Michael Jackson as a little kid. And so the first two times I performed, Mocha was like, well, we got to find you something. We got to find you something. I was like, well, I can do Michael Jackson. And it just took off from there.
Okay, so when you did Michael Jackson for the first time in a pageant, what pageant was that? Was that the Indianapolis pageant you did?
It was Mr. Gay Indiana. Yeah, a fool, child. A complete fool.
So, as Trinity talked about earlier, she said that you were the first EGOT for the males, right?
Mhm.
And well, probably the first EGOT because most of the girls didn't win America. So that's that. But for whatever reason, so I guess they're still EGOT-ish, right? But when I think of you, and I think I talked about this before, because he's also the emeritus to Mr. Impulse. We
Correct.
forgot about that. And it was he and Granny Tommy Ross because I felt like they both were that. But the difference in you and others is that you won them your first time. You won most of the pageants that you won first go round. Do you feel like there was a lot of pressure for you because so many of the guys, especially the men of color, would struggle with going year after year after year? But did that feel like a lot of stress on you because you won your first time?
So I would say that came later in my career, right? So I went to Mr. Gay America 3 times total. The first time I went, I was that first runner up to Mr. Indiana, very green, but I got third alternate at nationals, and so that's when I got that fire under my, it was like, oh, I'm
Like I
big
can do
shit.
this.
Yeah, I can do this, and so went back second time, didn't make the five, so a little crack in there because I spent way, I was like, I thought I was gonna win. But that night, honestly, two of the farmers came up to me and said, this is probably not the system for you, and you should go to Entertainer of the Year. And I didn't know how to take that, right? I didn't know, why are you saying that to me? Do you think I don't fit the mold, right? You know, am I too young? Like I didn't really understand what the impetus was behind those comments. But it was in a group setting. It wasn't aggressive. They were just offering their opinion and their advice after I didn't make it. And so I did. I went to Entertainer of the Year and was successful. I didn't feel the pressure until I went to Black Universe for
Mm,
multiple reasons. Because when I went to Continental, I had no expectations, right? I had one Entertainer of the Year, but nobody really knew me. I was still fresh face, and I was just going to once to put my toe in and have fun. But to be on the Continental stage, they hadn't crowned any non-singers to that point yet, so there wasn't truly any pressure for me because I wasn't going in with the expectation of winning. I just wanted to go in, honestly, have a great package, have a great talent that was going to be on the Continental stage with that Continental videotaping back in the day. Like I really wanted that. And so the expression that I had in crowning was true because I just didn't believe it. I did not believe it. When I went to Black Universe, though, I put that pressure on myself because way back when Al and Chanel were reigning, I was at Chicago Universe, and I was with a friend of mine, actually my boyfriend at the time, who was competing at that preliminary. And I saw them and I said, one day I want to be that black symbol of excellence. I mean, they were just straight out of Ebony magazine, straight. I mean, it was everything that I had never seen before because I hadn't been to the South. You know, I'm from up north. And so I hadn't seen any of that in person. And so I said, one day I'll get there. But I knew I wasn't ready yet. And so when I decided to go to Black Universe, I felt like I was ready. So that was to me the pressure. And then it just built from there. When I went to US of A, people were putting that pressure on me because as Tommy says, people think you float on air. You know, at some point you just start floating on air when you go to contests. And so I made it harder listening to everybody else. But it made me work harder too.
Okay. So let's rewind and go back to high school. So when you were
Do
in
we
high
have
school,
to?
you said you were in musical choir, you did the things, you was on stage, you were entertaining. So did you feel that fire then? Like, did you have expectation of being in entertainment?
Yes and no. I don't think my parents would have been okay with that. But I did. When I first went to college, as I was applying to colleges, I was going to be a dentist. And then when I got there, I changed my major to a music teacher, so musical theory. And then I dropped out, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that was my impetus. I wanted to be a teacher because I thought that at least I had some revenue coming. And then if I can get on stage, you know, that would be great. I auditioned for Rent. I did all kind of auditions all over the place. Didn't get any. I got a couple callbacks, but didn't make it anywhere. So, you know, you learn quick that you need a plan B.
Hmm. So with that being said, when you hit the stage, did you ever connect any of that to high school? Like, did you feel like you were fulfilling any type of dreams or goals from then when you were doing this pageants, Continental, EOY, US of A?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even as a kid, I'd be dancing around the house with the lights half on, you know, one light coming from the side room, you know, setting the stage. And yeah, I was getting my whole fantasy. I get it every time I get on stage. And so, and even still to this day, when I do get on stage, that is, to me, that is life. That is a different side of me that is living, that
Hmm.
doesn't get to live every day.
So Reigns then, what year was it when you won EOY?
2005, 20 years ago.
2005. So compare that's 20 years ago. 20 years ago? 20 years ago. So comparing 2005 to 2025, what do you think what one major difference, just one major difference between pageants in 2005 and 25, what would it be?
There's a lot more of them. There's a lot more of them. And I'm part of that number, right? I created a system. But I just think the competitor has changed, if that makes sense. Back then, people would jump in pageants. It didn't matter if your brother or sister was in the pageant. You jump in. You might share resources. You might have dancers in the same room. You know, you have a camaraderie backstage. It just doesn't seem that way always. Now there seems to just be a lot of contention after pageants, or even sometimes leading up to, that really wasn't there before. And I don't know if it's because we didn't see it on social media, so we didn't get that immediate response from people. You know, but I can remember going to some pageants and hearing people come out of the venue upset and angry. But usually that was the end of it, right? We didn't all go to social media and then it just festered for days. And then it
Yeah.
becomes turned into arguments and sometimes even fights. And so I think that's what's changed. It's gotten diluted. Going to be a little controversial right now. I think the newcomer divisions are new since 2005. I think that has a lot to do with the dilution. People talk about that pageantry is dying and that it's dead. I don't think it is. I think it's just diluted, and we've created a new division, which is the newcomer divisions. Now, I know people are going to jump on me. It is what it is. I
It
never did
is
a
what it
newcomer
is.
pageant, right? My first national pageant was Mr. Gay America. I didn't do a newcomer pageant. Then I went to Entertainer of the Year. You got to jump in with the people that have been competing because that's how you learn from the back. You learn by watching them. You learn by getting your critiques. If you stay in the newcomer realm, and some people have been there for a while, when do you grow? Watching
Mm,
people who are just as new or newer than you, how do you
you
grow?
know. Yeah, I feel like when I came out, it was only one newcomer pageant. It was Black American Newcomer. Like I,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, that's the only newcomer pageant that I remember existing. Outside of like in Houston, they had Black Gay Houston Newcomer, but outside of that, it was just Black America. So you're right, that does change a lot because when we interviewed other people like Tommy Ross, Layla LaRue, a lot of those girls, they did like maybe a little pop up newcomer in their city, and then they went straight to the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
leagues, as they
You
say.
know, back in the day, you do the talent shows, or like Mocha put you on the show every now and then read you for filth after the number, tell you where that's how you grew. I mean, she did, but that's how you grow, and that's how you grew by watching the girls on the show, the guys on well, girls for me, watching them on the show and picking up things along the way and improving your craft, right? So if
Yeah.
and then it becomes to a point too with so many contests. Who is the queen? That's why I named it the way I named it. Who's the queen? We used to look forward to seeing Miss Gay US of A coming to town, or Miss Continental come, or Miss Black Universe, Miss Black America, because it was only a few, right? And those pageants and Miss America, but they had that respect when they came into town. People used to come and flock. Now at Queen, we have 31 systems participating in the national welcome recognition. 31.
31.
31. Because we're open to all. We welcome all. We want you to come. We want to support you in your system and what you're doing. We've opened the door. But there are 31 systems participating, and I'm very happy for that. We have created an extra additional space for them to be able to come and do that. But that's a lot.
It's like Black America now.
That's a lot.
Yes. Black
Yes.
America be
Yeah.
having like
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
But so let's stay on that for a little bit, but I want to shift it a little bit. Where did Rasean Montrese, where did you get that from? Where did Rasean Montrese come from?
So I knew I needed a name. I didn't want to. My name is Christopher. It was Christopher Johnson. Now Christopher, Mr. Ford's upstairs. And so I knew I couldn't use that because my name was so common, obviously, because the other EGOT is Christopher Johnson.
Yes.
So very, very, very common. And I know another one, but I'm not going to say who it is. I'll get in trouble. But so very, very common name. And I needed something different. And so my partner at the time said Rayshawn. So he came up with Rayshawn,
Okay.
just say it. And I said, okay. And then I said, I'll spell it a little different, just to make it, fancy. And then he said, so who's going to be your mother? And I said, well, Mocha, I guess. And so he said, well, you're going to have to ask her. And I was like, shit. So, so I did. I asked her, and she said, what do you mean, little boy? Little boy? I said, I
That
guess, little
sounds like
boy.
Mocha.
I guess you be my son, little boy. I had to call your sister Coco Montrese. And so that's really how it happened. Somebody named me my first name, and I took Mocha, who was the closest person to me in the business at the time.
Yeah, it's funny because when I met you, we were at US of A with Mocha. I was dancing for, and you were in the bird.
That was the
How many
owl.
licks?
Yeah, that was the owl.
Trinity Mocha did how many licks for prelim night?
Mm.
Lil
by
Kim
by Lil
sure
Kim.
did.
Oh.
Sure did.
And Ray Sean was
Sure
in
did.
he was the bird.
I was the owl. Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about hood, okay? That's my Boca. I love Boca. So you became Rayshawn Montrese. So therefore you walked into a house where I don't think were you the first male?
I think so. I think so.
Because I don't think I remember any other
She
males
has other sons now, but I was the
now.
first. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But then you were like the only one.
Mhm. Mhm.
So was that pressure? Did you feel like that was pressure?
No, because it was just Coco. So it was just me and Coco at the time, and Mocha was living in Indianapolis. Coco was still in Florida, I think, at that point, and so I pretty much had all of her attention as the only child, so to speak. So I didn't really feel that pressure. And she was there for me. She dressed me at Mr. Gay America my first time. just really kind of providing that support. And so I didn't feel like I was competing with anybody else. But
Mhm.
she would push me because she told me, she said, one day I'm gonna take you down south. We're gonna go down there and sleep, baby.
Oh
And it
wow.
happened.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the name of that club in Indianapolis? Because Mocha like pretty much like kind of ran Indianapolis back then.
She did. So that was Club Cabaret when I
Club
came.
Cabaret.
Yeah.
So you had access.
Yes, not at first though. So let me tell you. So when I first came out, I was with my cousin Cliff. My first time out, we went to another club, and that was my first time around so many gays. Right, I had never seen the gays touching and dancing and kissing and doing all that. I mean, I was like, and I was 19 at the time, and no, I was 18. I wasn't even 19 yet. And so out of the club, just seeing everything. And he was like, so it's 2 o'clock. And he was like, okay, we're about to go to the other club. I was like, the other club? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. So we left there, went to Club Cabaret, and he went in first and got his stamp because I was using his ID. And then he got his stamp and then came back out. And he was like, he handed me the ID and I went in. And so I go in, you kind of turn to the right. And there was this lady standing there at the door, and I just handed her the ID, right? Because I'm green. I only did it one time before. And so I handed her the ID. I'm not really looking. She looked at it, looked up at me, and said, Give Cliff his ID back. That's my cousin. And so I go back outside and I said, I can't get in. The lady at the door told me I could, let's give you your ID back. And he started laughing and he was like, wait a minute, child, what lady at the door? And I said, I don't know, some lady with big titties at the door. And he was like, that's Mocha, child.
Big titties.
He described it well.
So but anyway, I snuck in through the DJ came out because we was friends with the DJ. DJ came out and let us in through the back end. So I snuck in. And she saw me later that night. She started laughing. And that's just really how we became friends because she just thought it was funny that I came in. I came to a couple of the shows and we just clicked.
Okay.
So, well, let me go to the structure. I'm gonna ask you some more personable questions. First
I
off,
should have got my Woodford.
what is your favorite color?
Mm, blue.
Now I want, but I have it's a two-part. What's your favorite color on, and what's your actual favorite color? Like, what's the favorite color you like to see on you? But then, what is your actual favorite color, or is it the
So
same?
no, it's not the same. So yellow and then blue.
Okay.
Blue is my absolute favorite color. If I could have it all over the house, if Adam would let me, I would. But it's absolutely my favorite color. But I like yellow. It's just the vibrancy of the color. And this is his favorite color too.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's nice. What is your favorite thing to eat?
Pizza, for sure.
Oh,
Pizza. I could eat it every day. Every day.
Okay. When was the last time you cried, and why?
Mm. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm not. It's a lot to get me to cry.
oh,
Um, because I was an only child. I grew up an only child, and so I spent a lot of time by myself doing that. Crying and self-soothing, and so I don't. It takes a lot to get me to that point. Cried out of sadness or happiness.
Just sadness, anger,
happy.
joy.
Well, the last time I know for sure was out of happiness when I graduated from Tulane Law School. Um, there was joy there for many reasons. One, I was done. That was the first thing. Um, but that was an accomplishment for my mom, right? She wanted me to finish school before she passed. She said it to me several times, um, and I know I exceeded her expectations in that and in life. I think, and so it was just overjoyous for me because it could have been a lot different. Could have
Yeah.
been.
That's good. Do you find that being such a piece of this community specifically, and then dealing with the education piece, do you find it to sometimes be a little intricate to navigate?
Mm. Um, More so with work, I think it's intricate to navigate, right? So I have a pretty corporate job. I'm senior vice president of human resources at the organization. Been in HR a little over 20 years, kind of working my way up, but it is tough to navigate that, right? Because You are wanting to be your authentic self. So everyone there, I don't make any qualms about it. I'm married. I say he. I use his name. I don't make it an issue. When we're talking
Yeah.
about spouses, I talk about mine. I'm going to use the appropriate pronouns. But at the same time, you do have to navigate that because people are just so edgy, especially now with everything with the current administration. And so whenever topics come up, if there's a discussion about a bathroom or discussion about anything, we had
Yeah.
a trans person at work and they didn't have an issue dressing in the bathroom, but another colleague may have an issue. And so, you know, I wanted to deal with it in the most delicate way possible. We're going to deal with it in the right way, but getting everybody on board with that sometimes is a little
Mhm.
Do you ever find it? Well, I'm not. Do you find it difficult? But do you find it warm, or do you find it pressure when you hear a lot of guys reference you when they talk about who they look up to or who they try and create their aesthetic behind? How do you feel when you hear that?
it's weird. It puts a smile on my face, but it's also weird because I think I'm still evolving, right? I look at people. I look at Monty St. James still. I look at Al for his clothing. There are people that I still look to and try to not emulate, but try to mold after. And so,
Mhm.
what I would say is don't mold after me. Find what works for you and push that home.
Yeah, I think part of that is because of what you said earlier with the newcomer systems, because you want everything as a newcomer by the standards of today.
Yeah, yeah.
You were a newcomer winning everything.
Anytime. I don't mind because Kiki went right on to Miss America. I don't mind. I'm built for it. Let's go.
Yeah, you like we're here.
We're here.
We're here. So I want to jump into the now before we go into the 10 questions. A lot of people, it's a lot of speculation, rumors, all of the things on what made you come up with King and Queen. So I want to
Hmm.
ask you.
Someone wanted me to say something last night because they knew that we were interviewing you
Uh-oh.
about this topic. Did you confirm or deny create Queen behind Stasha?
No, I didn't. I had never heard that before.
Okay.
I did not. Did
That
not.
was
And
brought
I,
up
I
last
will
night
say,
that the pageant was created for you molded it for her.
no.
Okay.
So what I would say is I think she started calling herself that after.
Okay.
This is our seventh year. I would have to confirm that with her. I think she started using that moniker after the fact. Sasha and I are cool. I love Sasha to death. But no, I didn't create it after her. I did talk to a lot of people when I was formulating and coming up with the concept. Spent a lot of time talking to Gabby. Spent a lot of time obviously talking to Coco Van Cartier, talking to Antoine Steele. What are all the things, what are all of our shared experiences, good and bad, that we can try to make something better? And that's really where it came out of. I've had the opportunity to reign in several systems, some good, some not so good. But all of them had something that I could take from and incorporate into my own system.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it
That
wasn't
makes sense.
molded after anybody. And I really decided the first year not to have an emeritus because I didn't want people to think that you had to fit this standard or this mold. And that's what I
Okay.
was looking
Okay. Cool.
That's a good point though, because that's why I wanted emeritus for Impulse. Um,
at.
because I did, but I love that because it's two different. Impulse is an organization,
Absolutely.
and it has to have standards. Not saying that you don't have standards, but I'm saying that you have to be a little more careful. And so I wanted it to
Well,
be
you do
two
because
representatives that walk the straight and narrow.
well,
But
absolutely. And with Impulse, you have a higher platform, right? You're going to speak. You're looked at by the other organizations across the country and really across the world now to be that representative and that face. That's a little bit different than Queen. You all party with a purpose. We party, right? And so it's a different representative.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's true. It was beautiful at Mexico City Awards Gala a couple of weeks ago. We were sitting there, and out of nowhere, boom, they popped up with you and Tommy's Granny's promo, followed behind Tarico and Giselle. And I was like, this is so beautiful. But at the same time, I was like, we have to get some color up in here. These girls gonna get tired of this in a minute, but but away from that. So with King and Queen, so you just kind of develop it because it was something that was true, that was in your heart. For the
Hmm.
most part, it was in your heart. People create like it was amazing when you said that you never heard that because I that's been the going rumor for like years
Do
now.
you know that? I really
But
do.
it just shows you how rumors take off. But I love the fact that it was just something that was on your heart, and you went to several people to get their input. So, what made you start doing the what is it called? Like the Divine Queens. What is their names?
Oh, the legendary queens.
Yes.
So the legendary queens, it started with me wanting to give back in a different way and recognize people who may not be competing still, but have made such a mark, and hopefully shine some light on them for the younger generation that these people have paved the way. Our very first legendary queen was actually Misty Knight, and unfortunately had to
I
be named
remember that.
posthumous. But Misty Knight was a force. I mean, I'm from the Indianapolis, Indiana, Ohio area, and Misty Knight was a force, baby. I,
Icon.
I remember her coming to Club Cabaret with that damn snake. Listen, I did not want to. I was never downstairs when she came with that snake.
And that was a big snake.
Yes, big python. No, thank you. But she was a legend to me, and so we did it that first year, and I said, you know what, we're going to keep this going, keep it going, and so every year we try to think about who's the next legend. It's hard because some people we want to nominate or we have talked about are still competing, and we want them to come and compete and be a queen, full on queen. But you know, when we think that they're not, we'll put them in the legendary docket as well. So, but it's good.
Okay,
They're
so
part of the family, and they are queens.
yeah, I love that. What I love most about it is that that for the most part they're alive, and you're
Hmm.
giving them the opportunity to be acknowledged and celebrated while they can still feel it, in a sense. So I love that, and
Let me
I
ask
think
this question.
you should
Hold
get a
on.
lot of kudos for that.
King, let me ask
Thank you.
this question. Have you, Montrese, Montrese, Rasean, have y'all ever had someone that you wanted to nominate or give that honor to? Is he still there? Did he go out? I think he went out. He's
His
still there.
name there,
His face just not there. What happened? He's still there. I think somebody called him.
yeah. So he's probably gonna have to go out and come
Go out and
back
come back
in now.
in. Shouts out to Coco Ben Cartier's in the house. If you have not registered to walk, she's gonna get you.
The absolutely stunning Coco.
One of my
Rashawn,
goats.
you may have to log out and log back in
I can do
if you
what you
can
asked me
hear
to do
me.
just in case, King.
Huh?
I can do what you asked me to do just in case.
Okay. It's gonna
Um,
be a just in case. Because he's
definitely.
texting me.
There he is. Let's bring him back. Somebody must have called you.
They were sorry. I didn't. I put it on
No,
do
you're
not
fine.
disturb.
So my question was, have you ever had someone that you may have wanted to give the honor of being a legendary queen that said, no, I want to compete?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's sickening
Still
too.
wait. I'm still waiting.
You still waiting on her to compete though.
Oh, oh, she still had did it? Now, whoever you are, you wrong. You need to go.
You wrong for that. You could have went on and took that.
You holding up somebody's spot.
so let's get into the 10 questions. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call out 10 things, people, places, or things, and you can tell us the first thing that comes to mind. But if you choose to elaborate, you can do so.
Okay.
But I do want to know the first word that comes to mind, and then you can elaborate. So I'm gonna start really, really light. LaWanda Jackson.
Mother. Lawanda is a very loving spirit. She took me in. So let me back up. Now that might get me going. Uh, Lawanda, I met. She came to compete for Missouri Entertainer of the Year, and the owner of Missouri Entertainer of the Year is my best friend. He was my promoter going to Entertainer of the Year, but became my best friend. And she came to compete at the contest, and she was just so lively and vibrant. And if you've ever met Luanda, she just has this infectious spirit about her that you are not going to be frowning around, right? And she saw me do Michael Jackson, and she said, "Oh, we got to get you to Vegas. Oh, Rashawn, we got to get you to Vegas, honey. We got to get you out there, honey. You can make some money, honey. 10%. I want my 10%." And so
Was she serious?
Yeah, she wanted. Yeah, and she got it several times. She would call. Yes, she did. She called me actually after I got was on Disaster Movie with Kim Kardashian. She called for her 10%. She sure did. Um, and so, but she just has this warm spirit, and she just takes. Wanda has so many kids. I don't even know how she keeps track or keeps count. But she just takes everybody under her wing. She's responsible for me meeting Coco Van Cartier, and a lot of other people because of that relationship down the road. And so, a motherly spirit, enormous personality, and a large entertainer. Um, but my heart, yeah. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
The second is Tailboat Street.
Oh, Talbot Street.
Talbot
Um,
Street.
so Talbot Street was the club that opened at the end of Club Cabaret. So new club comes in and the old club kind of fades out. So Talbot Street opened, and I got gigs there. Was working there quite often, and then ended up being show director there. A great opportunity. That's where all the pageants were coming in town. The Continental prelims, the US of A prelims. I competed at Mr. Gay America. I won there. Um, and when I didn't make the five, it was there. And so great club, different clientele than I was used to over at Club Cabaret. But just great. Sad that it closed.
Coco Van Cartier.
Oh my God. My sister from another mother, father. Well, father, because we don't know, Lawanda used to be Lawanda Kentucky Jackson, so we don't know who either one of our daddies is. But um, Coco is like my sister. If I ever needed somebody to lean on, or needed somebody to call, or needed somebody to get me together, it's her. It's absolutely.
So Clifford.
Cliff is my cousin, my ride or die, my earth grounder, because he'll tell me, "Oh, child, you ain't nobody." Oh, Miss Thing, he's very, very that, but will do anything for you. Give you the shirt off his back. Actually, I think I stole this sweater from his house when I was in Atlanta last time. Sorry, Cliff. Um, but do anything for you. He comes down to the pageant and he's our driver. So he makes sure everybody gets picked up from the airport, gets to the hotel, back and forth to restaurants, back and forth to the pageant. And he loves to do it. And I'm just like, child, that's a whole lot of work, but that's what he loves to do because it's supporting my training for the pageant. So,
Your spouse, Adam.
oh, the love of my life, my heart, and my rock, and always there for me. I mean, he has been the biggest supporter of Queen Pageantry System and promoting it. Um, So shocked when he came home one day. He's got a big king tattoo on his leg. I mean, it
Oh.
just my ride, just my ride. And so grateful that I came down here for a work conference and we met.
Is that how y'all met?
Yeah, yeah. So funny story. Sage Summers actually one day, you know how you be in the club back in the dressing room between the shows. And Sage was like, "Oh, he's fine, child. You right up your alley," and showed me the picture. And I was like, "Oh yeah, he's fine." And so then I didn't say nothing else about it. She was like, "Well, you gonna send him a message?" I was like, "Child, you in New Orleans, I ain't seen you." I was very scary. Very, very, very scary. And so she grabbed my phone and sent a message. And so that's how I started. But there wasn't any communication until I was getting ready to come years later. I was getting ready to come down for a work conference, and then I got the nerve to message him to tell him I was coming
Hmm. That leads us to up. That's gonna be a great story when you're old and feeble.
down.
Because y'all didn't meet like some of us.
Oh, you
Okay.
mean on them apps?
Okay. Well, up in Adams. What do you think about when you think about y'all's restaurant?
Dream come true. That is Adam's dream come true. When we first met, he would tell me that he wanted to open up a spot that where he could serve everything to get you up and at 'em, get you energized and ready for the day. And I always thought about that. One year, I gave him the logo. Had a company that I was working with at my job created the logo, and I gave it to him for a gift one year. And then during the pandemic, we started selling coffee, up and coffee. And then everybody was saying, "Oh, you guys should open a restaurant." There's a lot of restaurants that have gone out of business during the pandemic, and found one. You never go window shopping because you end up buying stuff. And so,
Mhm.
but never in my wildest dreams. And I know people always say, "Oh, we're going to be successful when you open," but you have fears. You have fears when you start something new.
Yeah.
Never in my wildest dreams would it have been received the way it is. That's off to him for making it.
Craig Henderson.
Oh, you getting into the toughies now. Um, Craig and I didn't have really have a close relationship. I would say that. Um, I guess the word that comes to mind is distant.
Do you regret anything with it? Or was it just organically that's the way it was?
Well, we chatting, and everybody knows it, so I'm just gonna say what it is. So the night that I won, the night that I won the pageant, I don't partake, right? That's just not who I am. I may have a drink or two or three or four, but that's about
Ah,
it, right? I might even have a lovely back in the day, who on flame. But I don't do that. And so he called me after the pageant and he said, oh girl, come over to the room, girl, sign your check, girl, have great talk. And so I come to the room and there's this party going on in the room. There's a lot of powder, a lot of everything. And he was pretty adamant about me partaking, and I just wouldn't do that. And so it's just started the relationship on a bad note to me. Because if I tell you no, you can do what you want to do. But if I tell you no, if I say that I don't want to be around when y'all are doing it to that extent, and it was, I mean, it looked like they had a pillow fight with the bags in there. And
Studio
that's just kind
54
of
fight,
started.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that just kind of started it off, I think, on a bad note. And somebody had told me, that night they said, "Oh, you should have did it so he knows that you're a cool person." I was like, I don't have to do anything to prove that
Okay.
I'm a cool person, right? If you want to get to know me, then get to know me. But otherwise, we can keep this on a business relationship, and I'll do what I need to do as long as you do what you need.
Mhm.
And that's
That's
that's how it ended up being.
it's crazy somebody would even say that to you. But I think that you trained him because when I went to go sign my contract for Mr. Texas, I had heard about the parties, but the party had changed because he had me in another room
Mm,
because he knew that I
mm.
didn't partake, and he was very clear to everyone, do not even try it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You walked so I could run. Number 9, Coco Montrese.
Oh my God. A powerhouse, a voice of wisdom is what I'll say with Coco Montrese. That'll be my word there. Whenever I have called Coco, especially getting ready for Miss Gay America, she is always a breath of fresh air, but set you straight, right? She's gonna give it to you straight shooter, but always there to help you and support you. When I was living in Vegas and she came in on the tail end of that, she was always there to talk to me, always there in the ear. And we had never really spent any time together. I mean, we were brother and sister by name, but we hadn't really hung out and spent time together. But she welcomed me into her home. It, yeah, lovely, lovely person.
And the number 10, you've already talked so much about her, but I'm gonna still say it. But you've already talked so much about her, Mocha Montrese.
The first thing that I can't get away from talent. That's the first thing that comes to mind is talent. And she really gave me my initial grooming and my start. Um, Tough love at times. She was there, a pageant aside, right? She was there through the breakups, through the drama. I was 19 years old. That's when it's hot and heavy, right?
Yeah.
She was the listening ear. She was the confidant, and so I always have love and respect.
So you're sitting in a room with 5 gentlemen that are actively competing right now, and they're waiting on you to give them some nuggets, some Rasean Montrese secrets to the business. What is that conversation going to look like and sound like?
So the first thing I would say is, did you come to this pageant the year before? Have you seen this contest? Do you know what they're looking for? Did you watch the tapes? Have you studied? Have you done your homework? Because I never have gone to a contest. No, never have gone to a contest without either going the year before or watching the tape so that I know what I'm presenting. Because every pageant is looking for something a little bit different. The categories may be the same, but how they're judged is a little bit different. So have you done your homework?
Mhm.
The next thing I would say is, what is your weak point and how are you focusing on it? If you know, you should know your weak points. If it's interview, have you been talking with people to work on your interview skills? Have you been asking people to challenge you with questions, hard questions, and then giving you critiques on your answers? If it's talent, what are you doing for talent? Are you two-stepping? Are your dancers dancing harder than you? Let's see. Let me watch your rehearsal with you, right? Because a lot of people don't. I was fortunate enough to have that. Anthony Watson was the master of telling you the true tea. Listen, I'm gonna digress real quick and tell this story. So when I was at Black Universe preliminary night, I didn't do Michael Jackson. I made it a point not to do Michael Jackson both nights. And so I got with Stefan and we put together this big band dance number, right? Every rehearsals, everything went flawlessly in rehearsal. Never one problem until we get to Black Universe preliminary night, do the talent, and I had this huge costume malfunction. All the Velcro had stuck to itself on the inside, so I came out. If you watch the tape, my chest all bird chest all out, and the dancers had a couple costume malfunctions. So after the contest was over that night, we get in the car and Stephen calls me and said, "Oh, I heard the town was a mess and oh, what did y'all do?" And this and that. I said, "Well, who called you?" He said, "Well, Anthony called me." So I hung up on Stephen and me and Anthony went round and round in that car, round and round. But he told me the truth. He told me everything that was wrong with that talent. He said, "I hope you don't plan on doing it tomorrow night. You need to do Michael by yourself if that's the case. Just you need those people in your corner to tell you the truth. No matter when it is, they need to be able to tell you the truth." So I would, with those five people, ask them, let me see your talent. What are you planning on doing and how can we tweak it? So I think
What
that's
was
really
his
what it
name?
takes.
What's his
Anthony
name?
Watson, Tony.
Was he the kind of short eyes, kind of like?
Yeah, he got a beard now.
Yeah, okay. I remember him because y'all were together all the time, like
All the
all the
time.
time.
All the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, from St. Louis.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I just saw him recently. I feel like at Universe maybe or
He was
somewhere.
at Universe. He
It
was at
was
Universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
Huh?
He was at Universe.
Okay. So what is next for Rayshawn in the
And
world of pageantry? Or is there a next? Is it just promoting?
so there is a next. I do have a goal uncompleted. And so there is a next. Kiki will be coming back. I can't say that she's going to be coming back right away. I know I'm not competing in January. I will be there watching and cheering on the ladies competing at Miss Gay America, but Kiki's not done. I don't like unfinished business.
So why
So
was
how to
Kiki
keep
created? Why did you create Kiki?
Well, so like I said, when I first saw Miss Gay America, I wanted to do drag, and everybody told me that I couldn't. Right. And even for a small stint when I was in Vegas, I had an opportunity to do Ross and Michael on a show. I had to do two characters, and the show wanted me to do Ross in the beginning of the show and Michael at the end of the show. Well, I had never actually done drag, and I didn't know what I could look like. So I went over to Coco's house and I said, "Can you paint me so I can see what I look like?" Ooh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. She has pictures, and I hope she never, ever, ever posts them. Um, but I knew that that was not for me, and I'm glad I didn't do it then because I can be a little excessive. And so I think I would have gotten a little silicone to augment. Like no telling what path that would have taken me down. But now that I'm older, I'm more stable and secure in who I am, and I'm married to a wonderful man that doesn't care. He just wants me to be happy. That was a big deterrent too. People don't want to date somebody that's doing drag, and that's all you hear all the time. And so now that those barriers are gone and I can afford it, I said, let's go. Let's do it before I get too old and can't.
Okay. Is Gay America your only goal as Kiki, or do you foresee her going further with
Mm.
other goals?
So after I won Continental, I told Cliff, my cousin, that I was done. Right? I said, I'm not going to do any more pageants. I'm done. And then after every pageant, I said, I'm not going to do anymore. So I've learned not to even say that I'm not going to do anymore after that. That is my goal and my dream. We'll assess how my body feels after that. If I
Where did
think
the
I
name Kiki come from?
Oh, so that was actually my birth name. Kirsten was my name for about 30 minutes, and my dad was not having it, and he had them change it to Christopher. But my mother named me Kirsten.
Really?
He thought it was too feminine.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes,
Okay. I mean, Kirsten is.
yes. It fit at the long run. It fit.
You still were able to use it, but it's a
Yeah,
little
I still
tangy.
used it. I still used it.
Do you find it as a male? Because I heard you say in the start that they would not let you do
Right.
drag, right? And I think that was like most of our story is probably the same. Do you think it's probably like that because we kind of were raised by the girls, and so that was like what you saw? Like it was like,
So I think it was part of that, but I have wide shoulders and a big back. That was confirmed.
no, you were
Listen,
petite back then. You were
m-
pretty
uh, no, my shoulders was always wide, and so I just
for
think
your
I did
size.
for my size. I just think I didn't present in that way. I was feminine. I used to carry a purse back in the early days. I was purse, a half shirt, jewels in my stomach, juice on my eyebrow. Oh, yeah, Cliff got pictures. Um, but I just still think that they didn't see that in me back then, and so I took their advice and didn't go down that path. I often wonder what it'd been like if I had done.
Mhm.
Well, I think you're seeing. I think you're finding out. I think Kiki is finding out. But I think that you also are probably at a more mature place. And like you said, you have the finances to do it the way you want to do it, so and you
Oh,
have the
absolutely.
knowledge to say, well, okay, well, I'm gonna wait and go back.
Yeah,
Because
and
I know back
I
in the day
think
it would have been
too.
like I'm doing whatever I gotta do to go.
Yeah, well, and doing drag is way more expensive. I know the boys gonna argue with me, and well, you're gonna have to do it because I've done a lot of pageants in my career as Rasean. Houston was way more expensive than probably two or three of those pageants combined.
Yeah.
Partially because I was starting from scratch, so I didn't even have bras, I didn't have pads, I didn't have jewelry. So it's a very expensive endeavor, and it really gave me a much higher level of respect for the art form that I even had before competing.
Do you think that well, you've only done one competition, or two with the prelim, but do you think that you are judged differently than the girls that are typically doing Gay America since you are the Rayshawn Montrese? Do you think that were judged differently?
I think so. People's expectations on the person, right? So on Rayshawn still carried over into Kiki, and that was really my biggest fear. Um, Trent Simmons will tell you I had a powwow, so we had a Build-A-Bear session at Black America last year. So I called Trent, I had Gabby, and I had Coco. All of us came in. We went to Black America. So I was bearded, had a good time at Black America. And then that next day, I shaved it all off. We were in the hotel and we built this bear. We built Kiki. So Trent did my makeup, Coco did my hair, Gabby was helping. We built this bear. And I said, if she looks like how I want her to look, if she looks like she can be somebody, like she in my head, then we're gonna move forward. But if she looked like that brick back in Las Vegas, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. And when I looked in the mirror when we got done, and I was all done, and I said, I can do this. I can do
Okay.
this. Now teach me how to do that on my face. But yeah, I can do this.
Well, I mean, like you say, Kiki looked amazing at
Thank
Gay America, but I do think that it is unfair that when you hit a certain pinnacle of success, rather than you being compared to the people on stage with you, you're compared to your best you. And I do think that that becomes unfair.
Well, I think it's human though, right? Because our
Yeah.
expectations of that person have risen. Even if I don't want to get political, but we expect more out of Barack Obama than we expect out of Trump in a speech, right? And so your knowledge of the person carries over, even if they change careers or change career
Yeah.
paths, it carries over. But Kiki was a newcomer. We
Yeah.
know that she was a newcomer, right? I had to learn how to put my pads on, I had to learn how to put my hair on. Well,
But
anger
what did
that
you
much,
place?
right?
What did you
Huh?
place?
Third alternate.
So, but
That's
just like
good. That's
Rayshawn,
really
first
good.
time
It was
out,
exactly the
baby.
same. Yeah, it was exactly the same. Now I don't want that. Now my next time back, I don't want that same. I didn't make the
You don't
final.
want
We're not
that
doing that.
place.
No, you definitely
We're
don't.
gonna
You don't want
skip
that
on it to the
place.
third time. We're gonna skip
You,
that.
this is like so full circle though, because at Black America that year, we had a photo shoot with you and Tommy for Impulse.
Hmm.
And I remember telling Tommy when we found out about Kirsten, I said, I bet that's why he didn't have a mustache for them damn pictures.
He was in there trying to get his face
And he was
together.
I
in
was
there
trying to
getting
get
them
my face ready.
in. I said, I bet that's why. And she was like, you know what? I was like, did you know? She said, I promise I didn't know either. He
No,
kept it a secret.
no, I kept it a secret from everybody. I didn't even tell. Well, I called a FaceTime Wanda once I got painted. I FaceTimed Adam because he wasn't there, and so I FaceTimed a few people just to get their reaction to see, what they thought. Tony was one of them I FaceTimed, and everybody was like, "Thumbs up, let's go." So,
So you are truly a Renaissance man. No pun intended. But you are truly a Renaissance
nah,
man as far
I didn't win
as,
that one. I didn't win that one.
well, did you do that one?
No, no,
Okay. But when I say Renaissance, I mean in the true spirit of the word. Because from your career in human resources, your academia, pageantry, male and female, and now a promoter of a system that has been very successful. Maybe no pageant has numbers like they used to, but you definitely have the eliteness
Quality.
that you should want, right? So, with all of that being said, do you think you can top yourself?
I try every day, Wendell, to be honest. And I had this conversation a couple years ago with a friend of mine. And I said, I think it's a problem. I cannot sit still and I can't rest. I always have to outdo. I set a goal, I start working on it. And while I'm working on that goal, my brain is already, okay, what are we going to do after we do this? And there's a blessing and a curse,
Yeah.
honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's a good thing though. So I don't know how much of a curse it is, because I think that it's something that everyone can learn from, and that is you should never get comfortable.
Oh
Mhm.
no, 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 no. You can't get comfortable. You always have to reinvent yourself because you don't know what's coming around the corner, right? You have to, and I just think that's kind of my upbringing. I grew up. My parents got divorced when I was 2 years old. My dad stayed in Indiana. My mom moved to LA. Both of them struggled, right? Both of them had two jobs. I was at home a lot. Both of them independently on food stamps at different times in my life. I was back and forth between the two, and so I grew up differently than I live today. But I remember that. I remember how I got to this point. And I know how quickly it can go back to
Yeah.
that. And so that pushes me to constantly improve and want to gain and grow to the point where I can't do it anymore.
Mhm.
Well, I
You
think that
mentioned
there's a beauty in that.
you mentioned earlier. I wanted to ask this when Wendell asked you about entertainment as a child in high school. Did you know
Mm.
you wanted to go into that? You said you knew your family wasn't going to approve or didn't like that. Why do you think that was?
Um, because there's really no stability in that unless you are a star, right? Unless the very small few that make it to become a sustaining star,
Mhm.
there's really no stability in that. If you go off to Broadway, most people don't make it a living, right? You're still hustling and you're still going and back and forth and trying to get jobs. My parents wanted me to go to college. That was never a discussion. My cousin and I call her my sister, but my cousin and I were talking and she said, in our house and our families, dropping out of high school, it was never a discussion. Like that was not a thing. You didn't even have that discussion. And then with my mom and dad, it wasn't, are you going? It was, where are you going?
Mhm.
Right.
Got
And so when I dropped out after my freshman year, it was a total disappointment to them. But I had come out on the scene at that point, right? I had the purse. I was living the life or going out to the clubs, got swept up in all that, started traveling, going back up dancing and going to pageants. That was my life and living it. And looking back on it, I don't regret it.
it.
Yeah.
I don't. I think you need to live your life. Everybody's not meant to go, straight to college and go into a career. I met all of my friends because of that. If I trace back to that decision not to go back to IU in the fall and stayed in Indianapolis, I would never would have met Luca, which means I never would have met Luanda, never met Coco, and never met Sage, and never met my husband. And never got into this industry. And so
Yeah.
I don't regret it. Now I went back and finished as an adult because that's what my
Right.
mother wanted me to do.
Right.
But I needed to take that time and live.
Were they accepting of Rayshawn in his entirety as an entertainer? Eventually, they come to the.
So my mother was. First she had to accept me being gay, right? So that was the first conversation that she and I had. She called me over to the house and um, she asked me who this guy was. She named his name and who was he to me. And then I said, oh, it's my boyfriend, da, 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 da. And she just said, okay. And that was the end of the discussion. She's then the next time I know, she's treating him even more affectionate and differently. They had a beautiful relationship. And so with my mom, it was very that way. And so when I started performing, she never came to Club Cabaret, but she came to Talbot Street often. She would come to the show. She was at
Oh,
Entertainer of the
cool.
Year when Entertainer of the Year. And that was an amazing feeling to have my mother there supporting me. My mother's a huge Prince friend. That was the only reason why I started doing Prince. And I never thought of myself as doing it as a lookalike. It was just emulating and trying to give her joy when she was on the show, with there at the show. And so she was always a huge supporter. My dad and I kind of go back and forth. I think he struggles
Mm.
with sexuality. He has been the queen. He was at Queen the very first year. So he did come to support. Um, but he struggles with
Okay.
That's huge,
Okay.
though.
That's
That's huge that he was able to support you
what
even
you in that
through
manner.
it.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I do have to, I'm on location out of town right now.
He getting
So
his
I'm gonna
courseware.
have to leave because someone is waiting on me to come over to pick something up.
Oh,
Um, but I do have one last thing that I wanted to say for the end because this person is someone that has been an enormous supporter of your name, your brand. Like it's like I can't I think that everyone needs one of this person in their corner. So I did want to find out from you your thoughts on her and what she means to you, and that's Flame Monroe. Because if
mm.
I tell you that lady, she speaks your name, as they say.
She is a
you
rider
know,
for you, baby.
She's a
And this is
rider,
your
yes,
baby.
sister. Now, how did you pick her to be your
And a
MC?
promoter. Like she promotes. I think everyone should want a Flame Monroe on their team.
Flame is absolutely ride or die. I know you didn't ask me for a word, but ride or die would be the word, and I ride and die for her. Mm. So I tell you how we met in person, and so Mocha was getting ready for Continental, and it was that weekend, and I was talking to her, and I offered to try to find her a different alternative for a game during the competition, and so Flame had a gown, but I had to go get it. And I was so nervous to go over there to get that gown from Flame because, Flame's exterior can be a little rough and intimidating. And I was very meek back then. And so I went over there, but it wasn't that way at all. She was very matter of fact, I want my gown back, blah, 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 blah. But she was just so loving and just, you could feel it coming out, even though she was matter of fact about it. And that she was really supporting Mocha in that endeavor, right? Because she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to do that. She came out of her heart to do that. And so we met again when I was in Vegas. Stefan had brought her in to MC Sin City US of A, I think. And so that's when I saw really Flame come to life, being on stage and because I had always heard about Flame. Like, we all heard about Flame. But
Mhm.
I had never seen her on stage and performing. And that weekend, we kind of grew a friendship. And her and Coco Van Cartier are very close. And so the friendship just kind of morphed out of that. But I ride for her too, behind the
Yes, you
scenes,
do.
in front of the scenes. We ride for
Yes, you
each other.
do.
You're not gonna talk about Flame in front of me. We're not gonna do that. Now you're gonna see Christopher. Now he's
Yes,
gonna
you
come
do.
to you.
Shouts out to Flame.
Shouts out to Flame. Well, Rayshawn, I do want to thank you, and I will see you
I'll
this
be
weekend. I
here.
would definitely be there to support you. Trinity is going to complete the interview because she has some more questions that she wants to dig in on. But I do want to just thank you publicly, and I want to thank you for what you've done for the culture because I think that is really important, and I think that you are a great testament because the pageants that you mainly won were not necessarily black pageants,
Mm.
but yet the black male leads all reference you, and so that lets you know that what the impact that you had, it could not have been grasped if you were not fighting the tides, as they say. So I think that it's remarkable what you've done, and as someone that have known you before you even started doing it, I can tell you that I really salute that because I never, I mean, I never saw myself doing it at all. Like so I think that is quite amazing that you went from being in that bird suit doing how many legs? to being an EGOT. Tell me what can happen if you dream.
Okay. All right. A
So y'all
30
have a
second
nice night, and I
cameo.
will see you on this weekend.
See you
All
this
right,
weekend.
I can. So let's talk. Let's get into it. So one of the two main questions was, can you hear me? You can't. You can't hear me. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on.
I can't hear you.
You
You're
can't hear me now.
no.
You heard me say that. Okay, let's see.
Let me come out and come back.
Okay. Wendell messed up my sound. Anyway, make sure you are at Queen this weekend, Saturday, honoring Queen Fantasia and King Angel. Coco said y'all have missed the registration for the walk, so don't even try it.
There we go.
Yay. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you now.
Okay. All right. So we'll finish up with you and I, and we'll talk some deeper things. One of the main questions, or two of the main questions that a lot of people were wondering is, of course, will you be competing again? And you did answer that earlier. But the biggest one is dispel the rumors of why you relinquished your title as Mr. Black Universe.
Oh, so I heard a lot of those rumors. I heard them almost instantly when Darion and Yasmin walked that stage. My phone was blowing up. All kind of people just saying all kind of crazy stuff. I just turned the phone.
Right.
So let me back up and say that when I decided to go to Black Universe, I reached out to Tasha before I reached out to the preliminary spanking, and I asked her, "Do you see this for me? Is this something that I can work toward and get myself together and come?" And we had a nice discussion. She gave me some tips and pointers and things that I needed to work on to be able to come and be successful, a successful contender, right? And so I got myself together because not because I wanted to go down there and win on my first time. I wanted to go down there and get my toe wet. I wanted to go down there and make the five and then come back and earn that title because I wanted to be recognized by my community. You know, like Wendell said, I had been competing in non-black systems, right? And so I wanted to be recognized and be part of that family. And so when I was successful, I went back home, and at the time I was living in Vegas, and my mom was back in Indianapolis, and she had been diagnosed with breast cancer,
Mm.
and she had been diagnosed for about 7 months at that point. But she was telling me that, oh, it's fine. You know, she was telling me it's only stage two. You know, it's all under control. She went on her trip to Jamaica for her birthday. You know, everything I thought was fine. And then, but when I got back home, my cousin called me, and then I got a call from my mom's doctor's office. And so I called my mom, and she was like, "Man, if you want to come home for a few days, that's fine. You know, just let me know when you're coming." So I could tell in her voice that something was different. And so I went back to Indianapolis and I demanded to go with her to the doctors, even though I kind of gotten the heads up a little bit. And they told me that it was stage four and that they were stopping her chemo and they were putting my mom on hospice. And that was the most important thing to me. And so instead of having a reign where, because I've heard them, you know, the universe crowd loves their rulers. They expect a lot of them. They want them to be everywhere and look like the job. And I knew that I was going to be there with my mother and that she was my priority. And so I gave the title back because I did not want to be away from her forever, however long that was going to be. And I also didn't want to disrespect the pageant and what they needed from Granny.
How was that conversation with those owners that when you had it? Were they supportive or were they trying to get you to stay and saying that we will support you, just stay? How did that go? Or were you just
So
simply adamant about relinquishing it?
no, I was very adamant about it. I don't think anybody could have convinced me. They were very supportive in it. Obviously asked me not to say anything to anybody as I think they were trying to figure out, you know, how to communicate that and how to get the message out. But I was very adamant. I mean, nobody could have talked me out of doing anything. I didn't even go back to Vegas. I stayed in Indianapolis from that point. Um, I never actually went back to live because I ended up moving to Indianapolis. I had all my stuff shipped back to me. Um, I left my partner at the time. You know, there was there was nothing and nobody that could have kept me from being there with
Mhm.
my and even looking at hindsight, I don't know that I would have changed anything,
Gotcha.
honestly.
What was Yasmin's words to you when you told her or when she found out?
She didn't want me to do it. She said, "Don't do this. You know, we can work it out. We can make it through." And I heard what she was saying, but I also in my mind, I had been to Universal a couple times before, and like I said, that's a ruthless bunch. And I won't say who, but I heard people in the audience reading the king, and just really tearing them down for how they thought their reign went. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that for me. I didn't want it for the system. And so the best move that I could make was to be with my mother. And I really thought Rayshawn was done at that point, right? I
Yeah.
really thought that, I've had a good ride, but this is my life. This is where I'm at. My mom set me down and she said, you haven't been to school. She had a lot of hard conversations with me at that point. You gallivanting all back and forth. You went out to Vegas and it wasn't as successful as you thought it was going to be. You need to focus. You need to go back to school. You need to get back into your job. You need to, make something of yourself.
Mhm.
And that's
So,
what I did.
so one would say that that was probably the best decision to elevate you as far as life was concerned. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely,
Gotcha.
because had I not gotten back and got my bachelor's and then moved up into a management role and then a director and then got my master's, none of this would be possible. None of it would be possible.
So we can look at the reframe and the positivity of it. Some things have to happen for you to get back on track in life. So shouts out to that. Although we don't like the situation why you had to resign and relinquish. However, it had to put you in a space to where you are now, being successful at that. Talk to us about the conversation to return as the king.
So the funny part is, you always, or I always did, even coming back to watch, I was there when Yasmin and Darion stepped down. I was there to support them that weekend. I've been back several times since then, but it always felt like it was something missing. Like it just, you just feel like that's a part of you that is not fulfilled. And I never, my reign was really short as Black Universe. We did 2 photo shoots, and before Black America, I had already stepped down. So that's, I think it was in February when I stepped down, and so really hadn't really walked as Black Universe. And so um, over the summer, Darion reached out to me and asked me would I be interested in coming back and doing the walk with him and Yasmin. And I stared at it, and then I kept looking at the name, and I was like, was it a prank? I'm just processing all that. And then, I responded to him and said, absolutely, I would be honored to do that. And then the next message was, did you get that approved? Right? Because I didn't want to come into the back and intrude into that space, right? Don't ever want to assume anything. And so that's just my personality. So I kept asking throughout the time as we were getting closer. Did y'all, even that night, I asked Jasmine, I was like, did y'all get this approved? Because ain't nobody know nothing. But they wanted to keep it a secret, but I at least wanted somebody to know, you know. They just didn't want to walk on the stage and then y'all threw me out of it.
Did you feel welcome? Did you feel like family? Did
Oh
you feel
God.
like you were back to the old years ago?
Oh God. Just so even before we got out on the stage, just being in the back and socializing before I even got dressed in the red, just in the back socializing with everybody. It was so welcoming. Nobody was like, "Oh, what he back here for?" Everybody was just so welcoming. And then as I started to get dressed, I could see the look on Naisha's face because she didn't know, and I could just see her coming to the realization that I was getting ready to do the walk. But as I was walking in the back, coming up to the stage, I had the glasses on. I'm glad I did because I was crying. The music was playing, all the rulers were back there. It will be always the best moment in my career for me.
Yes,
And
it was.
then to have the audience do what they did to be accepted finally, um, I will never forget that. I'll never
Oh,
forget
oh goodness. Well, welcome back to. Well, not welcome back. I'm not a part. I'm not a part, but you know what I mean. I know everyone is glad that you were able to come back. So, that was a very, very great moment. But speaking of back, a lot of times you don't return to the systems that you have been a part of.
that.
So what's up with that? Talk to us about that. Is there a specific
uh,
reason, or is it just something that you've moved on from?
partially something I moved on from, but then partially it's just work. I have a job where I can't take off a lot. I do get PTO, but I use it, right? I'm using it this week. I want to use it to go on, on trips or use it to go back home to see my family or when I'm sick. And so, I can't go to all the things. I do try to go. I've been to Continental the last couple of years. I haven't been back to EOY in a while, and I want to. Um, it's just, there are a couple that I don't, for personal reasons. But I do try and go and support when I can.
Okay, got you. Um, you created Queen successful. If I'm not mistaken, this is the seventh year.
It is seven. This is our
Okay,
seventh
so
year.
seven, number of completion. And you have been a part of the best of the best. Let's just call it what it is. So you see how it is to be a contestant. You see how it is to be the king, and so obviously you see it from a promoter standpoint because you are that. What sets Queen and King apart? What's something distinct that you wanted to set apart from the Continentals, the Black Universes, the EOYs, the Americas, the USA? What is that one or ones of things?
So I have to go back to the why. Why did
Okay.
I create it for that? Which is to have our king and queen be treated exactly like that for their entire reign. As you said, I've been a part of several systems, and oftentimes you don't get the treatment that you see from the outside,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not what it is on the inside. Some people are very disrespectful, very condescending. They want you to bow down to them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my nature, and so I will push back. But I wanted to create a system where what you see is what you get. There's not a lot of lip service. We say exactly what we're going to do for you. We do that and more.
Mm-hmm.
We treat you with respect. Um, we treat you as your family, and we mean that. Um, I really wanted to create that and to create a system where everybody can come compete. We don't have divisions for a reason because one size fits all for Queen. Look at the pantyhose, one size fits all.
Right.
So we're never going to have divisions, and I don't like to say never, but I don't want any divisions because it doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, what your age is, what gender you were at birth. Come on,
Right.
because there's kings and queens in all shapes and sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what sets us apart is that our vision and focus is on the contestant and the reigning, not
Mm-hmm.
on me and my pocket.
Mm-hmm. What made you come up? This is so interesting with the being able to defend the title. How did that come about?
So back in the day, Entertainer of the Year used to allow you to defend. They used to allow you to compete again.
Okay.
Nobody ever did it, to my knowledge. No one ever did it. And then I think somebody was getting ready to, and they changed the rule because they didn't want that person to do it. That I got that from the owner, so that's his recollection of it. But I just thought that was so different in the industry. Nobody else was doing that. And what a way to, well, first of all, it goes with the theme of King and Queen, right? Defend your throne kind of thing. But what a way to show how much of a bad bitch you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Baby, I'm going to step down and defend this title.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see none of y'all in the lineup, right? And so that's why we allow them to do the opening production, and they get right on in line as the last contestant. Because
Okay.
I can get ready with the best of them. I don't need 3 hours to get ready to do this category. Come on.
Right. That's definitely true. When you say, I heard you just say a few minutes ago, treated how a king and queen should be treated. Break that down for us. How should a king and queen be treated?
Well, it's just simple things, right? We provide for transportation when we ask them, okay, what systems do you want to go to? How can we help you go to these systems and represent? How can we make this a better experience for you? Taking care of your hotel, taking care of your travel, making sure that your tickets are paid for to get into the event. When it comes time for the photo shoot, that's on us. You are promoting my system. You shouldn't have to go out there and then pay for all these photo shoots and all. You won my system. You spent your money to compete to represent us, then you shouldn't be spending the bulk of your funds to do that. We should be helping you do that because this is our business. This is our system. So really just recognizing that people are people and need to be respected and not treated as employees, not treated as less than, but as a partner for the next year.
Mhm. We had a discussion where there was not we there was a discussion on social media last week about kings and their roles as a king. That a lot of male leads are starting to be extra effeminate, trying to outdo the queens. What is Rayshawn's, not Rayshawn the promoter, but what is Rayshawn the male lead's take on that?
So I just think it's the times changing. When the guys started wearing cha-cha heels, I would clutch my pearls, when they started doing that a few years ago, because I was like, oh my God, I would never. But I just think it's personal choice. Fashion changes, styles change. Um, the male lead has transformed so much from when I first started competing. Um, it went into you have to be this hyper super masculine guy into now they want you to be entertaining, and you give off some masculineness, but they allow femininity. In the beginning, it was none of that. They didn't like that at all. And so I think just things evolve as drag has evolved, as art form has evolved. I did hear the comment about, being jewelry, I think, or accessory was the thing. I don't agree with that. I think the guys do put a lot into it. I think a lot of them hold their own weight and in this community and in the art form, and stand alone. And that's why we have two, king and queen, and we treat them both equally, on purpose and intention, because they're both equal in our eyes.
Talk to us about the relationship that King and Queen pageantry has with Tio, the photographer. How did that come about as far as him being the official videographer and photographer?
So Tio was part of the conversations as I was getting ready for Queen. He been around the industry for a very long time. He had shot me several times before, and he was one of the people that I was speaking to about doing this contest, and he was providing his input, his insight. He actually did the logo work for us. So the King and the Queen logo, Tio created that for us. And I really respect him and his work, and he understands the aesthetic that I'm looking for in our photos. And so he has been the official photographer.
Okay. Oftentimes, money is an issue why people compete or don't compete. King and Queen is noted as one of the top paying pageants at in the right now that's going on. What made you want to give that amount of money out compared to some would still come for 2,000 or 3,000? Was that a specific reason for eight or?
Well, I wanted to, I wish it was more, right?
Yeah,
I wish it was more. Maybe one day we praise the Lord. Maybe one
right.
day will be. But I really wanted to set us apart in another way. One, again, giving back to the person. Now, 8,000 may not cover your whole package. You may not come out even, right? I know that for a fact now.
Mhm.
But I really wanted to show that this title means something. And I wanted you to be able to give back and devote the time throughout the year because you did win something of significant value, right?
Right,
And so
right.
we don't allow you to do other pageants throughout the year. And I feel that's because we do give a substantial prize package that you should be
Mhm.
able to devote the year to us, from that standpoint.
Why do you think, and you could speak to this from a entertainer's perspective as well as a promoter, why do you think numbers are down when it comes to contestants right now?
Yeah, so I think I spoke on a little bit earlier. I think there's a lot of pageants,
Okay.
right? And I don't want to disrespect anybody, but there's too many. Let me just say that there's too many choices. And so when you have, let's say you live in a neighborhood and you got five grocery stores, nobody's going to thrive because people are segmented between amongst the five. And people have created pageants for several reasons, right? The disenfranchised, or they want to do better, they want to do something different, similar to what I did. But I just think there's an oversaturation. Um, I do think by us having so many divisions, if you look back in the day, there weren't all those divisions. You didn't have the at-larges and the elites and the classics and the newcomers, and you just didn't have all. And so when you start segmenting it up, you are chopping up your contestant base, right? You're pulling from the same pot. As people stop doing pageants and stop doing drag and retiring, you have a new crop coming in. But if that new crop is in the newcomer division and never come out of there, then they're never your numbers are going to be low on the traditional side.
If this is too heavy for you, we understand, but I want you to kind of talk to us about being a promoter, having a representative that passed during their reign.
Mm, mm. That was tough, because Ryan was such a lovable person. He was so infectious. He would text and call almost every other day. he wanted to be a part. He wanted to do all that he could, and to have the phone silence was tough.
Mhm.
It was very tough. And then of course, then people start, okay, well, are you going to crown the first runner up? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Well, in our rules, we don't pass it on to the first runner up. So if somebody gets dethroned, it goes to a former. We don't do the first runner up thing.
Mhm.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But I really wanted to make sure that we honored him in a way, forever honor him for his reign, because he was such a beautiful person. And to do it in a way that wasn't overly done, wasn't disrespectful, um, was honored by the family. So his mom, Miss Kim, was there last year and represented her son, her king. She'll be there this year representing her son, her king, because she is part of the family. And
Mhm.
so as often as she wants to come, we will have her with us. Um, but it was tough, how and shout out to Kennedy, because she carried him with her everywhere she went. She carried her garments. She had garments made. I mean,
Mhm.
she loved her king, and so did we. And so it wasn't just that year. It's tough, because even as we're preparing the lineup, I'm like, okay, so I got the former king from, you gotta rethink how you do it. Um, and so, but he will always be a king, always part of our lives.
Shouts out to Ryan. Shouts out to Kennedy. Have y'all ever considered, you have the legendary queens, legendary kings?
Yes. And so we have been in, well, Ryan is our first legendary king. We did do that for him. I have spoken with a gentleman who I want to acknowledge as the uh, emeritus of the legendary king, so to speak. And when we can get that worked out, we will have a legendary king.
He better not tell you he won it. It did don't. I want to compete. It did don't.
No,
Don't
that
do
wasn't
like
the
what?
person. That wasn't the person. No, that was a queen. I'll narrow it
Okay,
down. That was a queen.
gotcha. Talk to us about Michael Jackson. You,
Mm,
if I'm not mistaken, you were on residency with him as the
no,
impersonator. Okay, no, so
no,
that's
no,
not
no,
true.
no, no. So long story short, so the Vegas story, when I during my Continental reign, I got the opportunity to audition for Disaster Movie, which is one of those, spoof movies. They make fun of everything.
Mhm.
And several celebrities in that movie. And I was Michael Jackson in that movie. And after that wrapped from taping, Lawanda had been working with me to try to get me to Vegas. And so I got an audition there for Lacage, which was the impersonator show there at the Riviera.
Mhm.
And audition went amazing. Several conversations. I moved there because that was one of the obstacles, right? You don't live here in Vegas, so I moved my life. My partner at the time moved to Vegas, and then shortly after, the college closed, and so it was like, what do I do now? Um, I'm out here. I left my job. I moved us out here. But through Luanda, introduced me to Dot, celebrity impersonator, manager, and agent. And so I worked a lot. I worked a lot on the strip. I worked a lot doing corporate jobs. I traveled doing corporate gigs. And so I was able to make my money, probably more than I would
Mhm.
have been making at the Riviera, because of those relationships and navigating them. And so I never got the opportunity to be on a strip show as much.
Mhm.
The clubs, yes. Corporate events, yes. The casinos here and there, but never was on a billboard. I wish I would
Gotcha. Um, someone put in the comments, have you and Adam ever thought about children?
We have. So we have two fur babies. No, I'm just kidding. We do have two fur babies,
Okay.
Onyx and Olivia. And they are the love of our lives and sometimes the terror. But we talked about it. You just got to find the right timing, and then, you know, figuring out when it's best to have them into our lives and when we're ready to slow down and devote time to them.
What is your favorite dish at the restaurant?
Mm, I like them all. Um, Probably the catfish chapatoulas, I would say, is
Oh,
my favorite.
that sounds good. That sounds good. How does Rayshawn deal with a contestant that he's close to competing? They don't win, and then they take it out on you in the system. Has that ever
Mm.
happened? And if it hasn't, if it does happen, how do you deal with that?
Um, so honesty is the best way to deal with it, right? I don't watch the whole pageant. I try to watch as much as I can, but I'm up moving around. But I trust my judges. I trust them to judge fairly. I'm watching the scores throughout the night. And so I kind of know have an idea of what's going on. And so I'm looking and watching. I go back and watch the tape and see, and I will provide honest feedback. And I just ask for the opportunity to be able to do that. But anybody that's competing that's close with me, I will probably say to them, our friendship shouldn't be challenged by the outcome because I'm not pulling it for you. So if that's what you expect, then you don't come
Right.
because I'm not. I don't owe anybody because I don't cheat. So
Mhm.
the winner is the winner.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Your aesthetic and demeanor is so regal. Have you ever contemplated Mr. Black America?
I have. And so actually, when I was getting ready for Universe, people were saying to me, some people can be so negative. People were saying to me, "Oh, why are you going to Universe? You should be going to Black America because they Universe don't have interview, and you need interview to win." And I was like,
Mhm.
don't think that that's true, but I hear what you're saying. What I would say about Black America, somebody may be there one day.
Okay, somebody. Hey, we like that. Somebody. Um, do you feel, and this is something that maybe clearly only you could, do you feel before Black Universe and even before just a couple of months ago when you were accepted back, do you ever feel that you weren't necessarily accepted by the Black community? Had that ever crossed your mind?
Oh yeah. When I won Universe, actually, I don't know if you can hear it on the DVD, but I heard it like walking down, waving at the end of the runway. Oh, he's whitewashed child, or he this, or he too white, and I don't hear it as much anymore. Um, but I used to hear it
Mhm.
all the time. Actually, from a few of my brothers, they probably don't remember it, but I do. Back way back in the day, back in 2003, I remember I was at US of A and they had an all guys show, review show. And I went on the show and they were
Mhm.
tearing me down about how whitewashed I was and my speak and my clothes. So it's always kind of been that. And I hear it, I see it, I understand it, and I try to um, walk in their shoes to have a better understanding of it. It does make me step my game up a little bit. I've never been the fashion horse, don't claim to be, but I know who those people are and I know how to get what I need.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's been a constant.
Gotcha. When you think of legacies, what would Rayshawn's or what would you like his legacy to be 40 years from now?
Hmm. To have created a space in pageantry where everybody can compete and that is the sought after system because everyone wants to be part of the family, just like back in the day. That's what
Gotcha.
I want my legacy to be. I want to have brought that style of pageantry back.
Mhm. Speaking of, who are some, and we just ask this question all the time, who are some up and coming male leads that you particularly like, that you see, if you see, I know you may not necessarily be someone on social media, but who are maybe two or three that you think will have a longevity in this career or could easily be the EGOT like you?
So Raquel Valentino, I see, has some longevity. Yeah, I love to see him compete, very energetic, very passionate about his craft. Uh, the new Mr. Continental, Isaiah Sanchez Hilton, I think he has some longevity as well. I see him winning other systems, so should he choose to do that. His heart is in it. These young guys, I said the other day, I can compete against them, but I know I don't want to. Um, I don't want to. Because they're just so creative and so talented, and that's stuff that we just weren't doing back then, right? They're pushing envelopes in ways that we never imagined because we were still trying to fit that mold of the trade or the masculine persona.
Were you ever a choreographer or just a dancer?
I mean, I've choreographed a few things. I would never want to play. I mean, I wouldn't put myself on the level of Stefan and Alberto, but if you need a talent of little 1, 2, I can do it for you.
Now, why earlier in the comments everyone was saying that you was a savage show director? Talk to us about that briefly.
Because so when I was show director at Talbot Street, I one night, this all stems from one night. Jeez, I can imagine who said it. So one night on the show, I was watching the show. I wasn't in the show that night, and I was watching how the crowd was interacting with the entertainers, and it just wasn't clicking and vibing. And what I noticed is that the crowd was really young. We had a lot of bridal parties in there, a lot of younger girls in there for the first two shows, and then even the third show when it was the gays coming in, they were younger, right? A younger crowd coming in. So what I did was I went back and got the show set. This is why they called me the demon director. I went and got back and got the show list, and I wrote down the year that each one of those songs came out.
Mhm.
And then I went to the front and asked them because we had the electronic ID scanner. So we knew the average age of the people that were coming in. And I went and told each person the average age of the music that they had performed that night compared to the average age of the person in there. And that how those people could not relate to the music that they were doing. And we need to work on your set list. Needless to say, I got cussed out that night. So I didn't go back in the dressing room that night. But the music changed.
Well, hey, that's all that matters.
That's all that mattered. The music changed.
um, um, I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you have to answer because I know you are a promoter. You don't want to shake up any things. But give me one female and one male that you would like to do the pageant. Not saying you're gonna want them. They're gonna win or you would crown them, but you would like to come do eventually. That you think fits the aesthetic of who King and Queen is.
Oh gosh, you asked me to make a mold. Um, so the girl came to mind right away, but she's a legendary now, which is Mimi Marks.
Okay. Okay.
Mimi Marks. I hesitated initially giving her legendary because I wanted her to compete, but I just felt in my heart of hearts that she wouldn't. And I called her and we had a conversation. And so I understood. But I think Mimi could shake up Mimi would shake it up. Shake it up. For the guys, with the costume and the way the categories are there, I think Monty fits that aesthetic to me. There's just so many creative guys. I think that oh God, I'm having a blank. Jeffrey Kelly fits that aesthetic to me from
Okay, gotcha.
Florida. Just that overly uber creative, and can sell the garments, but just be, so creative in everything that they do, not just the costume, but in every category. So those would be the off the top of my head, guys that are not competing,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that I would
Yes.
personally want to see. Now, let me just
Yeah.
say this: I don't judge the pageant.
Right.
I
And
have
you
five
accept whoever
judges,
wins.
and listen. I call it as it is because I trust those five people at that table. So
Right.
I call it as I see it, as they have written it. Let me say.
Okay. If I could suggest one legendary, this is just me, Cezanne. Um, that's just me. So I don't know if she's been in the mix and in the talk, but Cezanne.
I love Cezanne. I
Yes.
absolutely love Cezanne.
What is Rasean's passion and purpose?
Mm. I heard you ask. I did watch a couple of the other interviews. I was trying to see what I was getting myself into. And that was the toughest question for me. So I would say my passion is striving for better, striving for excellence, pushing myself. I try to push my friends too. What is the best thing for you to do? What is the next best move that you can make today? And then work on the next best move. That I got that from, I hate to say, but I got that from Oprah. Is don't try to take it all in at once. Don't try to take in the whole apple. What is the best next move that you can make? And I think for me, it's striving to be better than I was today, tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then the second part was purpose.
Yes.
To show people that you can do anything you put your mind to. I honestly think that that's my purpose, to inspire people that you can do anything you put your mind to. I don't come from the biggest of beginnings.
Mhm.
Um, but I have certainly, in my opinion, blazed the path with my life to this point, and hope that I'm an inspiration to others to say, you can do it. You just need to put your mind to it. I won five of the six pageants. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. Five of the six, five of the six on my first time because I focused on that. That was the goal that I focused on. And I didn't let anybody deter me from that. Right. And
Mhm.
so if you sit down and truly focus on your dreams, you will get there and you will make it happen.
Mhm.
You will.
You you have been several guys goats. And so the question that we ask every entertainer, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore? Four male entertainers that you would put on your Mount Rushmore.
So oh gosh, why do we have to do this now? Um, so I would certainly put Antoine Steele would definitely
Mhm.
be on my Mount Rushmore. I would put um, he's competing in the pageant again. I'm not judging. Antonio Edwards would be on my
Okay.
Mount Rushmore.
That's fair.
Monty St. James would be on my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Let's see. There's only four of them, right? So I got one more.
One more.
Um, DeAndre. DeAndre would be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think your mom is looking down from heaven saying about everything that you've done in your life now?
Go boy. I just think I hope that I have made her proud, and I hope that she looks down and wonders what I'm going to do next, and how to make her smile again tomorrow. That's
Mhm.
really what I.
Um, the young boy that was 18 years old sneaking into the club with the DJ to the grown man today, is there anything that you would have done, not done, redone, or should have done?
Mm. Um. So what I would have done is try to be more personable earlier in my life. I was very closed off, very standoffish, and that was just me being in my own head, right?
Mhm.
Thinking, judging me, and thinking people are judging me, and so closing down and shutting down. So I wish I would have been more open in my younger years and really taken that from Mocha as well because she's such a bubbly person. She speaks to everybody, she talks to everybody, and I really wish I would have been able to pick that up and exude that earlier in my career. I think something that I wish that I would have done differently. I don't know because I think all of that makes just who we are. I
Mhm.
really do. And even some of the things that, people kind of say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But if I hadn't done that, then I don't know what the repercussions would have been. The lesson may not have been learned early enough in life. So I try not to live too hard in the regrets.
Mhm. There's one other EGOT, Christopher Johnson, i.e., Christopher Mine. Talk to us about your relationship with him.
So I first met Christopher at Continental when we competed together. Very, very nice person backstage. That, again, that goes back to the camaraderie. I didn't know him from a can of paint. I didn't know Antoine. Antoine and I became really good friends that weekend and remained that way. Um, and so for Christopher, I just looked at him as a very talented entertainer.
Mhm.
Um, very, very much so. Very good dancer and a great competitor. And so I knew that he would get there one day. And as he kept winning them, I said, "Well, damn it, I ain't
We
gonna be
got
here by myself for long." But I always knew that he would get there. I always knew that he would probably be the next one to do it. So
you. Yeah,
very,
he
very
had he had such great flowers to give you last night in the dressing room because he knew we were talking to you. So he just wanted me to make sure that he told you that you were definitely someone that he looked up to and he strived to want to be when he finally won EOY. Um,
good.
one word, no definition, no explanation. One word that describes Rayshawn's life in its totality.
Mm. Um, so for Rayshawn, I'm going to say unbelievable,
Okay.
unbelievable, because just the things that you're saying, the things other people have said, and even sometimes when I look back on it, it's like a dream. It's a blur. Did that
Hmm.
really happen? Did it happen that way?
Hmm.
Um, it just seems surreal. And very fortunate and blessed to have had that and had that experience. But um, one, wanting to add on to it and extend because again, I don't like to stop. So,
Right.
legends have to be maintained.
Yeah.
So still moving forward from.
Okay.
For Christopher, I would say um, perseverance, pushing through, making sure that um, I'm always pushing forward in my life and in my be even higher than I am in my career. So
Okay.
perseverance would be that.
What are you most looking forward to this Saturday?
I am most looking forward to the dance with the band at the end of the night. When we know who our king and queen is, and it's time to get it, baby.
Yeah, okay. You've given us 2 hours of great conversation. And we knew that it was going to be is there anything that you want to talk about, clear up, say that we may not have touched on before I ask the last question?
I don't know. I think we touched on a lot. I think that what I would say is that, I feel that I'm a very approachable person. And I think that I just want people to know that and to know that I'm a human being like everybody else. Yes, I've won some pageants and been blessed to have done it, the way that it happened. But I'm a human being like everybody else. I want to be accepted. I want to be a part of the group. Let me in, so to speak. But
Yeah.
let's party and have a good time this weekend. Come up and say hello. I'd love to see you. Can't wait to see all of you. But yeah,
So
that's the only thing that I would leave.
so the last question, but I'm gonna play a little joke with you. If you need me to proofread anything this week, if you need me to go with those names, Rayshawn.
So
Yeah, that's the inside joke,
I
y'all. That's gonna be our running
I don't
theme.
I don't like running nobody under the bus, but it wasn't me.
Okay. Thank you.
Wasn't me.
No, okay. But no, we always ask our guests, our legends, our icons, to give us one last nugget that we can take with us through the rest of our life. Something that has propelled you through life, something that has helped you, just something positive that we can remain and can remember your interview by.
One nugget I'm going to say is you are the only one that can be you, and you only got one time around this planet. So don't sit back, push for it, go for your dreams. If you don't hit it today, you'll hit it tomorrow. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Great, great, great. Well, Rayshard, thank you so much for these 2 hours. Thank you for just being so accepting. And we look forward to everyone coming to Nolans to support Fantasia as well as Angel, yourself, Coco, Flame, and all of those contestants that we have. Thank you again for such a great conversation, being open and transparent. And anything that Wendell and I can do on this platform, because you are now part of the family, don't hesitate. Flyers, posting, just let us know, okay?
Will do. Thank you so much. This has been a
Thank you, sir.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I will see you on Saturday. We will see you on Saturday, and you have a good night. Tell
I'll
Adam,
have a
hey,
Sprite for you. I'll have a
yes,
Sprite for
thank
you.
you, Sprite. Have a good night. Bye
You
bye.
too.
All right, guys. So that was Rayshawn. Great interview. We love when we can get our icons and legends on. I know that he's a busy guy, so for him to give us these 2 hours of our time, of his time, excuse me, we're grateful for that. Listen, this Friday dots. I don't know much about it, but you can reach out to I think CJ or any of the court. And then, of course, Saturday, excuse me, is King and Queen honoring Fantasia and King Angel. A great lineup of quality contestants. If you are in the National Walk, make sure that you're on time. Make sure that you are doing what Coco told you to do. And we look forward to seeing everyone. Next week will be our last interview of the year. So tune in for that. It's a little different. It's a different dynamic. But we definitely want to talk to this. You're welcome, Coco. Y'all know Coco is my favorite, honey. That's she on my Mount Rushmore. And so we look forward to having a great time down in North. Listen, if you come into the pageant, sneak me some beignets because I love me some beignets. Put them in your purse and your stuff. And I will see everyone. The People's National Grand Madam will be in the building, as well as my queen, Amaya. So we look forward to seeing everyone because we do it for the people. I will see you all on Saturday if you're going to be in New Orleans. But if not, we'll see you back next Tuesday with our guests. Y'all have a good night. Bye.